In 1959, 9 seasoned hikers ventured into the Ural Mountains, never to return. They were trained, prepared, and knew the risks, but something went horribly wrong. When rescuers arrived, they found a scene so bizarre, it still defies explanation. What really happened that night? And why has this mystery never been solved? The beginning of the expedition. The expedition was led by Igor Dyatlov, a young yet highly capable engineering student who had already built a strong reputation for his leadership, discipline, and meticulous planning. Among his peers, he was known as someone who didn't take unnecessary risks and always prepared for the worst-case scenarios. For this journey, he carefully selected a team of 8 other hikers, each of whom had experience in winter trekking and survival in harsh conditions. These were individuals who understood the mountains, respected the dangers, and knew how to handle extreme environments. Their objective was ambitious. The group planned to complete a long and physically demanding trek across the northern Ural Mountains, covering nearly 190 miles over a period of several days. This was not a casual hike. It required a high-level certification due to the difficulty of the terrain and the severity of the weather conditions. Only experienced and well-trained hikers were allowed to attempt such a route, and Dyatlov's team met every requirement. Every detail of the expedition had been carefully thought out. The group carried high-quality equipment, including a large winter tent, heavy clothing designed for sub-zero temperatures, enough food for the entire journey, and navigation tools to ensure they stayed on course. Before departure, Dyatlov even submitted a detailed itinerary along with emergency procedures and an expected return date. From every angle, this looked like a perfectly organized and well-executed expedition. There was no sign of recklessness, no indication that anything could go wrong. The first unexpected turn. A few days into the journey, the group faced its first setback. One of the hikers, Yuri, began suffering from severe physical pain that made it impossible for him to continue. After discussing it with the team, he made the difficult decision to turn back. At the time, it seemed like a minor inconvenience, but in hindsight, it became the turning point that saved his life. The remaining 8 hikers continued their journey deeper into the mountains. According to their diaries and photographs, their spirits remained high despite worsening weather conditions. They laughed, took pictures, and documented their progress, unaware of what was waiting ahead. The final camp on Dead Mountain. By February 1st, the group had reached a slope on a mountain known locally as Dead Mountain. Instead of camping in the safer, forested area below, they chose to set up their tent on the exposed hillside. This decision has puzzled experts for decades. Experienced hikers usually avoid open slopes during storms, especially in extreme conditions. But for reasons still unknown, they stayed there. That night, something happened, and whatever it was, it forced 8 capable individuals to abandon everything they knew about survival. The discovery that changed everything. When the group failed to return on time, a search party was organized. Days later, rescuers found the campsite, and what they saw immediately raised alarm. The tent was still standing, but it had been cut open from the inside. Inside the tent, all their belongings remained: boots, coats, food, and equipment. Everything that would have helped them survive the freezing conditions was left behind. It was clear that they had exited the tent in a hurry, but not through the normal entrance. Footprints were found leading away from the tent, heading down the slope. But the strange thing was that these footprints didn't look like signs of panic. They were steady and evenly spaced, as if the group had walked away calmly into the darkness. The first bodies in the snow. The first bodies were discovered near a cedar tree, about a mile away from the campsite. The 2 hikers found they were barely clothed, wearing only minimal garments despite the extreme cold. There were signs of a small fire nearby, suggesting they had tried to stay warm. The tree itself showed broken branches, indicating that someone had climbed it, possibly to get a better view of their surroundings or to escape something unseen. Other bodies were later found between the tree and the tent, positioned in a way that suggested they had been trying to return. But they never made it back. The most disturbing discoveries. Months later, the final 4 hikers were discovered in a ravine. Unlike the others, they were more properly dressed, wearing clothing that appeared to have been taken from those who had already died. But what shocked investigators the most were their injuries. These hikers had suffered severe internal damage, including broken ribs and skull fractures, injuries so intense that they were compared to the force of a car accident. Yet, there were no external wounds to explain how such trauma occurred. Even more unsettling, one of the victims was missing her tongue, while others had missing eyes. Some clothing showed traces of radiation, adding another layer of confusion to an already mysterious case. The official conclusion and its limits. The Soviet investigation eventually concluded that the hikers had died due to a compelling natural force. But what exactly that meant was never clearly defined. The case was closed without a detailed explanation, leaving behind a vague conclusion that only fueled more speculation. Many believe that key information had been withheld, especially given the reports of strange lights in the sky and the classified nature of certain findings. Theories that tried to explain the unexplainable. Over the years, numerous theories have been proposed to explain the incident. One of the most widely accepted explanations is the avalanche theory, which suggests that a sudden shift in snow forced the hikers to escape their tent quickly. While this explains their sudden departure, it does not fully account for the unusual injuries or the lack of typical avalanche evidence. Another theory points toward military involvement, suggesting that the hikers may have unknowingly entered a testing zone for secret weapons. Reports of glowing lights in the sky and traces of radiation have been used to support this idea. Some theories go even further, proposing encounters with unknown objects or even supernatural forces. While these ideas capture public imagination, they lack concrete evidence and remain largely speculative. The modern investigation. In 2019, the case was reopened using modern forensic techniques and computer simulations. Investigators concluded that a delayed slab avalanche was the most likely cause of the tragedy. According to this explanation, the hikers may have sensed danger and cut their way out of the tent to escape. In the darkness and extreme cold, they became disoriented, separated, and ultimately succumbed to hypothermia and injuries. While this theory provides a logical framework, it still leaves several questions unanswered, keeping the mystery alive. A mystery that still stands. The Dyatlov Pass incident continues to fascinate people around the world because it sits at the edge of logic and mystery. It involves experienced individuals, harsh natural conditions, and a series of events that don't fully align with any single explanation. Even today, the site has become a place of remembrance and curiosity, attracting visitors who want to walk the same path and understand what happened. But despite all the research, theories, and investigations, one truth remains clear. Something happened on that mountain, and we still don't fully understand what it was. Some mysteries don't need monsters to be terrifying, just unanswered questions. And this one still refuses to be solved, even after decades of searching. If you want to explore more real stories like this, make sure to like and subscribe.